Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hey athletes, it's time to play with your balls. Your stability balls, okay? This is a great way for you at home or even at the gym to improve your core, right? Because a better core, a better functioning core is gonna make all of your lifts go up, all of your exercise go up. It's gonna help prevent pain from happening, especially in your lower back. It's so good for you. And again, this is a great workout for you at home. This is gonna challenge so many muscles of your body. Plus, as you can advance through these, and I'll show you some of those progressions, and I'll also show you some regressions, you're going to be connecting your toes to your fingertips to your nose, okay? We want to connect your entire body because remember, your core isn't just this thing here. It helps bridge the gap between our lower body and our upper body and helps maintain a good, healthy spine. So let's get after it. So, hip thrusts. You've probably seen these in our video of Fix Your Core. So, with our hip thrusts, we're going to be doing a tempo. So we've got a 3-5-1 tempo. That means on the way up, I'm going to be exhaling and coming up slowly for 3 seconds. I'll pause for 5 seconds, and then I'll return down to the bottom. So I'll take my breath, breathe out, so again, 3 seconds on the way up. 1, 2, 3, making sure that my hips are on, my core is on. I'll hold this here for 5 seconds, and then I'll be starting over again. So we'll do our sets of 8, our 4 sets of 8 with a 3-5-1 tempo. Now, before I go any further, this workout is free to you guys, okay? Check the comments below. We have this provided for you, so you guys can do this at home and follow along as you go. Now, we've got the walkout. Now, we only want to take this as far as we can that our core will allow it, okay? So, we need to make sure that going after our hip tucks, that core engagement, that sensation you felt right below your belly button, that you keep that still alive, okay? If you lose your core engagement, your lower back is going to turn on. So, a walkout. I'm going to start with my hips engaged, and then again, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to walk off camera, but I'm going to walk out like a seal until my core tries to turn off. Now, I might get all the way to my feet before I have to walk back in. But just like any plank, we want to keep our palms under our hands as we do it. So, let me just start with my feet on the ball so that you can see the progression of this. This is a pike. So if it becomes really easy for you to do 8 repetitions of walking out perfectly, keeping your hands under your shoulders the whole time, and keeping your core on, you can get to your toes, no big deal. If you can do 8 of those, here's a way we can make them a little bit more challenging. It's a pike up, okay? So, imagine I got all the way out there, so give me a moment. So, I'm here. What I'll do is I got to about my ankles, then I'll just continue following through by lifting my hips up as high as I can, keeping my shoulders over my wrists. Then I'll return to my good solid plank before I would start moving back into my position. So again, you'll walk it all the way out, lift your hips as high as you can while keeping your core engaged, your shoulders over your hands, then you bring yourself back into plank, and then you do it again. Okay? Again, with those, the faster you go, the less work you're actually doing. You can go a little bit slower and make it harder. Now, let's go onto our back and let's work the back of our legs again. So, very similar to those hip thrusts, we're doing something called the bridge. So, I want my feet together, my toes together. I'm going to bring the ball in as far as I can. Then from here, depending upon where I put my hands, the wider, the more stability. The closer, even if I'm hugging myself, the harder, okay? So I like to put my hands somewhere real close. I'll take my breath. I'll drive down through the ball with my heels, lift my hips up, squeeze my glutes, and then I'll come back down to the floor. This is just an advanced hip thrust, essentially. Now, once 8 of those becomes easy, rather than doing 100 repetitions, let's move on to something we call a leg curl. So, we lift our hips up, we extend our legs, okay, keeping our core on, keeping our lower back off. We curl the ball in, keeping our hips up, and continue to extend. Now again, once 8 of those becomes really easy, then we switch to one leg at a time. So we lift our hips up, we straighten a leg, and then we curl from here. Now as I extend, the tendency is for your hips to drop. It's very crucial that you keep that butt cheek on, you keep your hip engaged, and that you do it nice, slow, and controlled. So after those 8, we flip it over, and we're into plank mode. Now, the more of your leg you put on the ball, the easier this is. So with our plank, if I did plank from here, that's pretty easy, right? The further I move my ball back, the harder. So I'm just going to kind of scoot it back onto my shins somewhere, and then from here I can hold my plank. Now, if holding plank here for 30 seconds is easy, that's when we can do what's called a jackknife. I pull my knees in, I extend them out, keeping my core on, keeping my shoulders over my hands, and I'm going nice, slow, and controlled, just like I would do for a tuck-in. Now, 30 seconds, that could mean you do 10 jackknives, that could mean you do 200 jackknives, okay? It all depends upon how slow you want to go. Now, let's get back on our backs for military marches. So military march, very similar to hip thrusts. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the easiest one. We're going to just be in bridge, and we're just going to be lifting our legs. This is going to lightly contract our hamstrings one at a time, teaching us how to eventually do a one-legged stability ball leg curl, or again, just to work those hamstrings. Now, to make it a little bit different, we can do the actual military march, where one leg is straight. We're trying to bring our foot over and past our belly button while keeping our hips in the air. So somewhere in here, and then I'll switch. Again, making sure my lower back isn't doing that work. Now, you guys get to decide. Do you want to do 10 total, 10 per leg? Maybe setting a timer is better for you. Again, take your time when you're going through this. That's kind of your call. Now, last thing, we call it alphabet plank. So, we're back on our forearms in our our prone position. So, we want to avoid a few things. The first thing we want to avoid is this dumping that you'll get in your lower back, right? This arch is just nasty. Plus, we want to get our body off of the ball, okay? So if you're down here, yeah, it's kind of hard to do anything from here. We need to make sure that you can push yourself up. Whether you're on your knees or not, if you do end up on your knees for this, get those hips tucked under, right? We don't do our plank from here, okay? We do our hips engaged, and then from here, we'll do our letters. Maybe we're doing A, B, our C, our D. You'll do that 3 times, whether you're on your knees or on your toes, doing your A, your B. But again, we only want to go as far as we can while keeping our core on. As soon as you go too far, and that happens to your lower back, that's really painful, okay? So again, you guys can make this workout easy, you can make it hard. If you want to make it a 10-minute workout, great. You can put a lot of breaks in between. That way you can rest a little bit. Maybe it's your day off. If you want to get a good workout, you don't have to add sets. You don't have to add any more repetitions or time. Just shorten your rest period. So on that ABC plank, if you want that to be hard, rest 30 seconds, okay? 30 seconds in between sets, holy cow, okay? 30 seconds in between all of these sets, that's going to be really tough, okay? If you need a little more break, take a little bit longer, okay? But again, as always, when you're playing with your balls, going slower is better.